out of the jungle. We spoke a lot about switches of the junglers happening with XDG, with Xmithy going back and forth with Zuna, and how that affected ManCloud and Benny in the top lane. Now, how will it affect Golden Glue, and what happens from this?
Yeah, there is so much unknown for both of these teams coming into this. When you add to the fact they're also playing on the 4.4 patch this week, there's a lot of change coming in. Lichbane has been nerfed a little bit. Lulu's still banned, though that's very expected.
Yep.
Amongst all this, Elise has been taken down significantly. Crumbs and Snoopy weren't necessarily the players to play Elise to begin with, but it's still a fairly large factor. There have been a couple Dignitas games where Crumbs did play Elise. It's been banned fairly frequently as well.
Yeah, very high ban priority. Jungle gets focused out quite a bit, especially in the early part of the year. And now that the Assassins are coming back, we're usually seeing them banned out right quick. Kha'Zix, however, is flying through this ban phase so far. Might be a quick pick. We have seen Crumbs on that twice, but he is yet to find a win.
Ooh, and Kha'Zix is up right now. There's a couple really powerful picks up right now, actually. LeBlanc is one of them, and Kha'Zix is the other one. At this point, they're just going with the tried and true Kha'Zix. It's the 2-second stealth on his ultimate very early on in the game.
Yep.
Gives him absolutely absurd control. And that's exactly what Crumbs wants to lock down in the jungle early. It would even give him a little bit of LeBlanc survivability, because at level 6 he's going to have that 50% damage reduction for 2 seconds each time he pops that ultimate.
It's always nice to be able to walk into the fight and just take all the area of effect or turn it off when it's coming at you. See what Inox and Snoopy have, and they look like they may take that LeBlanc. I'm super happy to see it when Pobelter and Golden Glue, or if I should say, they get high picks this game. Pobelter so far has, because they are both playmakers, and it is going to be a brutal mid lane.
Yeah, and Golden Glue's aggressive champion pool as well. The Zed would make a lot of sense in this. You fight just in absurd amounts of damage with the same thing sometimes. And the slipperiness of Zed can somewhat be matched with LeBlanc. Those two actually have fairly similar play patterns as far as being able to go in and still escape at the same time. You're really just trying to match that pick when you go Zed against LeBlanc.
Wow, Kiwi Kid breaking out the Karma for the first time. He has 13 games on Annie, and he actually had doesn't have a chance to pick that. I'm sorry, it's banned out. So he goes to Karma. I'm seeing a lot in EU. Yeah,
the Karma pick is a little... It makes sense in this situation. I'm confused at how Kiwi Kid stopped playing it, because he was actually one of the first people to play Karma support in its new iteration. He played it all the way back at the Battle of the Atlantic and did pretty well against Alliance at the time, if you can believe it, and then has stayed away from it this entire NALCS season. I really like the Karma pick now. I think people are finally starting to value it for its absurd peel potential. Just getting fights on teams with Karma is difficult, but Nautilus, Riv. That's what I need to talk about now.
Got some changes. Let's hit it up.
All right. Nautilus. Something that is true to my heart, as well as Snoopy's, I'm sure. In fact, this is going way too far back. It's probably not even relevant. The Riot Games World Invitational at Season 2 that was played in Vegas, and Snoopy actually came to that. I got to play Nautilus against him. I lost.
That didn't go so well.
No, it didn't go too well. But anyway, the reason Nautilus is being seen right now. Nautilus is... Kiwi Kid's getting a little too casual. No feet on the table.
That is some flexibility.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted.
Nautilus,
man. His shield has went down to 18 seconds at all ranks instead of scaling down from 22 to 18. And the early game is going to be so incredibly critical for what Snoopy does. I believe that Nautilus needs to hit level 5 fairly quickly so his shield doesn't break while he's jungling, and it makes him a really fast jungler as far as that is concerned. So if Snoopy should actually take some early lane farm, or he needs successful ganks early. Otherwise, he will fall really far behind. As soon as his shield gets broken, which will happen in late game team fights against this Dignitas team with the Sivir ricochets and the Shyvana random AoE, Nautilus is terrible if his shield breaks. So he needs to get tanky very early, use that extra now 15% max health bonus on his W shield, and just get that going. Otherwise, the early game will not be good for him.
Neither of these guys, really, usually somebody comes out with somewhat of a poke comp so they can disengage, but everything is all in here from both teams. Both have the gap closers with a little bit of disengage and a whole hell of a lot of speed from Dignitas with that Sivir ultimate, the Karma speed up as well. they're going to be doing everything they can to get in the face of EG.
We're going to need to spend a significant amount of the early game talking about these team compositions because we can't talk about all of it now. But Dignitas is what I'd like to call just the speed comp. They're combining Sivir and Karma.
That's Stampede.
Yeah, oftentimes Karma alone is enough to speed the team and give you a mobility advantage, but you add to the fact that they now have the Sivir on the hunt as well, and they will be flying around. It'll be a question of how fast you have to be to dodge all the hooks coming out from Evil Geniuses.
This is going to be crazy. Everybody jumping all over with the picks we have, and as the teams load onto the Rift, let's see who you predicted to take the W. According to LOLesports.com, 68% of you are giving this to Dignitas coming into the matchup.
Yeah, going with the Golden Glue. New player to the mid lane. He really, really needs to perform here. Golden Glue, as a player, he wasn't super hyped coming into this one. This is another one of these Dignitas picks where they think they can find a guy that has a lot of potential and kind of grow him.
Yep.
I think they did a very similar thing with Kiwi Kid at the start of Season 3. He was a fairly unknown top laner, and he was great when he started in the top lane before he started falling off. And then, moving him to support, they found a place for Kiwi Kid to exist, and he's one of the better supports here in the North American LCS. But he's not the type of player that you hear, oh, they picked up Golden Glue.
Right.
Wow, he's going to dominate now. He's untested and unproven.
And we're seeing a little bit of different as well. It would have been a Gragas, an Orianna, something with AoE damage, usually an AP coming from Skara, maybe the Lulu. But we get a Zed right away, something that's going to change up the composition a little bit. And we'll see what they can do to get some kills in the mid lane. Let's see what the not new teams. New team for Dig here with Golden Glue, but without Crepa on the side of EG as well. See what these guys have for each other.
And Riv, this whole week is going to be very high stakes at level 1. On the 4.4 patch, the warding trinkets can't be placed until 2 minutes. And I was wondering about this, are people going to start with regular wards? EG says yes. Can actually start at Health Crystal, Biscuit, and a regular ward. He had the extra gold from the Mastery, so they've warded their own buff. And this is even more important for Evil Geniuses because of the early game reliance of Nautilus to get going and not get counter-jungled early with a buff steal. It's not about the buff itself, it's about the experience that the buff can provide. Snoopy needs to make sure he gets at least 2 of his buffs here if he wants to stay competitive with Crumbs in the early game. The ward start by EG is pretty good, but they're not in line to have a crash course with each other right now. They're on completely different sides of the map.
So is Snoopy almost putting himself in kind of a tight position up against that Kha'Zix, knowing it was picked with the Nautilus?
Yeah, I mean, I think almost no matter who he's up against, unless he's up against something like an Amumu who has almost no early game power, so you're running a risk with Nautilus. He needs to be able to get to level 5 and level 6 fairly quickly.
We'll see if it can have the impact they want it to. Right now, 4 strong in that top lane is Golden Glue. Just figuring out, as he stays in mid, what's going on around the rest of the map.
And I really have to reiterate how dangerous these early games are for these guys, because they are doing all of this completely blind against a Thresh right now. Dignitas is invading with 4 people against someone who could be waiting in a brush with 5 for all they know. That's why EG was invading around with 5. They wanted the level 1 edge, and they're going to end up stealing each other reds. But this was done blind. They both just guessed that's where they're going to be.
And they got the teleport down to the bottom lane too, so safety for Cruiser there. Inox has it as well on his Lee Sin. We'll see where he goes.
Yeah, we're going to be repeating these changes fairly frequently, but this is also something we expected to happen. 4.4 patch teleports, cooldown is reduced by 100 seconds when used to a turret, and when you combine that with the trinkets having a lower cooldown and the increased probability of level 1 fights, teams want to stay together as 5. So therefore, when the top laners, they're much more likely to bring teleport. They will invade with their team and then teleport down.
Oh, Flay into the Sonic Wave, connect for Inox. It looks like they're just going to go hard on the turrets here in the bottom lane. They should have the advantage without that armor.
Yeah, Inox actually stayed a little bit longer, waited to see where Cruiser teleported, and then tried to punish. Inox still has the capability to go up to his turret and get a wave of experience if it presents itself. But right now, he's actually going to help. He's actually being a jungler right now, while Snoopy is getting jungle experience.
Able to soak up experience with a little bit of safety of everybody in the bottom lane. So Snoopy's going to have actually a very easy jungle here with eyes on Crumbs in the top lane.
They're going to send 4 people to that bottom lane and try and outshove. Dignitas loves to try and trade these turrets, but they generally do that when they can trade faster. The top turret has more damage reduction. There will be a slower push in this bottom one. EG could get 2 faster and still maybe protect their second tier.
Yeah, when Dig has gone for this in the past, it's been with Jinx. And PewDiePie has a nice record on that. This time, Sivir, they go for a full movement speed team. It looks like they'll keep a bit of pace, but they're slightly behind.
I really wonder if EG's going to send some defenders back or just continue this push, because if they stay 4 strong right here, there's no telling where this push could stop. You think it's going to stop at the second tier turret, but depending on how long they wait here, they could go for more.
And they're only going to have a little bit of vision being up here, but they're not going to find any pressure, so nobody's going to have to use that vision as these turrets going down quite fast. Dig is kind of caught up in this situation now with that wave clear PewDiePie's been bringing.
Yeah.
Looks like they're going to have a tied up turret takedown.
Yeah, and this is really crazy. EG is sharing a little bit more experience, which means Inox is going to have a pretty substantial lead onto Cruiser, but there will be a minor disadvantage on the EG's AD carrying support as far as experience goes, because they were splitting between 4 as compared to splitting between 3. Now they could even just go back and take this dragon. Ken, hopping in.
Wow, level 2, level 3. I was almost about to say, would this affect Snoopy on Nautilus with opening up the map so much and being such a dangerous jungler? But they put themselves in a great spot. Oh, going down on a pole belter. He puts the chains down. Golden Glue loses sight in the brush, but it looks like they'll be able to clone. Does he have the dance moves to get out of this one alive? No, they want the dragon still. They're taking so much damage here. Snoopy's able to smite it down. No, Inox gets it.
We're 4.5
Looks like
minutes
they'll
into
be
the
good on
game,
it.
and we're about to have a 5v4. EG trying to run away.
Gets a double slow on him. There's the flame breath from Cruiser. Turns on the burnout, and it looks like they'll get a bit of damage. Nobody's gone down yet. Everybody limping away.
All right, everybody calm down. This is not what's supposed to happen at the start of the game. Dignitas pushing mid lane now. EG did take the dragon. I think overall, Snoopy is behind now. He got very few minions in the lane, is still level 3, 5 minutes, 20 seconds in, and his jungler has not been cleared. Inox is ahead of Cruiser. Lee Sin needs to punish Cruiser, and Crumbs needs to punish Snoopy. Other than that, the teams are pretty even.
Mid lane returns. It's PewDiePie and Kiwi Kid trying to push this one down now. And they have a bit of a CS lead due to this foray that just occurred.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy start of the game here. We see, I guess the vision's going to change things up a bit overall.
This has been all team play thus far. There's been very little individual expression in this game. It's just been hordes of people trying to push down turrets to very little defense. Now, I feel like the game really starts. Pobelter did get cut out. That was his bad. He should have seen it coming. But now Pobelter is in danger of getting punished.
Oh, uses the distortion. Crumbs finds that. He jumps straight into the fight. They may have enough damage here. It's going to be Snoopy just on the outside. Golden Glue! He gets himself locked up, and Inox is there as well. These guys are just on the move right now.
So many rotations. Inox is just ignoring his lane effectively, even because it's already pushed 2 turrets in, and finally using that teleport. Didn't even need it to secure that kill. He actually didn't get a kill or assist amongst that. Snoopy gets some much-needed experience, and Pobelter gets a much-needed kill on the Golden Glue.
It doesn't look like it, but slight little leads being taken. Each of these lanes is going to start surmounting to a big lead. Crumbs being pushed out of that one there. Golden Glue is going to have to take a little time off from that engagement, so EG pulling up a little bit of what they need here to get ahead, especially without having Crepo in that bottom lane. They've been doing quite well.
I'll see you later, Ward. I do have to say, this is a very intelligent start by EG. This is really playing to their strengths as a team overall. When they get isolated laning phases so far this year, they generally start falling behind. And because they've kept this game so rotation heavy, they've really limited what Dignitas can do. Great moves. This is dangerous.
Snoopy feeling quite strong here. He has Inox just on the top side.
Friends.
He's going to get double hit up. He makes the call. Will he have the flash? It is down right now. And so is Snoopy.
Yeah, that was bad.
Looking for a little too much, a little confident.
Yeah, they were looking for a bit too much. Even if there wouldn't have been a jungler there, it's still a questionable dive onto Cruiser, who has his flash up on Shyvana, and he just gets punished for being where he shouldn't.
Looks like EG using a lot of these shields they have for early game. A level 3 to a level 5. I think this could prove to be bad.
No flash either, Ken.
6Z coming down. They're going to start giving Dig a little bit of what they want here. Gold going in for Golden Glue and Kiwi Kid. Crumbs is going to be on the other side of the map picking up blue, so nothing really going to come of that kill, just some extra money.
Ward control is incredibly important if EG wants to continue to make maneuvers like that. Ken was trying to set it up, but that was a very unsafe ward to place.
Yep.
They had no control in the river, so they were running the risk of being spotted while invading, and that's exactly what happened to Ken there as a collapse happened from Golden Glue.
Inox in the top lane, going for the E level. A lot of people like the fact that you can kind of level whatever you want playing Lee Sin up there. 3-1, coming up on 9 minutes in. Looks like, as you said, EG playing it pretty strategic here in the early game, but a few moves have gotten themselves killed now.
Their overall strategy has been sound, but recently they have overstepped their boundaries. They're losing pink ward control too, which is very important that they protect these if they want to continue to make invades.
It was a big jump to get out of that one.
Ken needs to find a way of getting some experience. They've spent so much time with Yellow Pete solo in a lane. He's a level 3 Thresh 9 minutes into the game. You just don't see that.
Oh, that turret shot. Still hurting.
Another 4-man stack.
Crumbs is level 6. I'd probably zero out Ken right now if we were able to get to him. We're seeing the top lane 7-6 as Inox is winning that. Always doing better on the carry champions when he can outplay his opponent and not have to sit back in lane and play it safe. 57-31 is everyone's in the mid lane right now. That's the CS difference there. As Pobelter definitely taking advantage of the new guy in mid.
Yeah, they need to find a way to get control back in this game if you're Evil Geniuses. Dignitas has kind of withstood this early barrage. The CS on Golden Glue is quite low, but he has been able to pick up that 1 kill. It's very important. Dignitas, some very nice ward kills there, quite honestly, getting control back here with how much EG has been roaming around and just the catch potential of EG's team. EG is almost all catch, whereas Dignitas is a much stronger 5v5 team fight.
Well, we'll see. They're going to get just that in a few seconds, Chad. 30 on the clock. Golden Glue clearing out the pink wards with Crumbs in the past few minutes. It's going to set them up for a nice amount of vision. We'll see. Pobelter trying to go in, misses the chain, and it's going to be Crumbs just on the backside. They can't get the full amount of damage in. It looks like Snoopy may have to cover here, and that could mean Dragon.
Ooh, he's got to be careful covering, though.
That's a lot. The distortion to come in. No, he does not want to lose the blue buff. Kiwi Kid makes himself present as well. Death charge goes out, but it's not enough. They're going to start going down 1 for 1, and the turret did, in fact, swap. They did not find Golden Glue, but Crumbs for another shot.
Ken,
gets it. That's going to go past the shield, most likely. No, he's going to stay alive. The health potion ticking as well.
That is huge for Dignitas. High pressure situation very early on for a lot of fairly inexperienced players.
Yep.
Now 5 kills to 1 for Dignitas. Take another look at this one. Pobelter just had to go in once that hook landed, but the rotation from Kiwi Kid coming up there, because the lanes don't really exist. That's why ward control is so incredibly important right here. The turret did pick Crumbs instead of Golden Glue there to attack once Kiwi Kid had went out of turret range. And with the dragon coming up shortly, this next dragon could definitely swing things. EG has lost control. If they lose this dragon fight, they may just lose the game off of it.
High intensity situation there as Dignitas finds what they need. Like you said, Dragon is about to be present as we have a bit of ward wars in the mid lane. We do see Ken that has finally hit 6, so that will at least help to zone out with the box on the next fight. But they're 1,000 gold down. If that starts going to Golden Glue, Skara said he's a guy that can make plays. Just give him Zed with damage, and you start making those plays.
Those plays are team efforts as well.
Since the beginning.
He's been fairly well supported. This is a much higher action game. Just with the way these teams have started really fighting over wards after all the rotations started coming out. That brush in particular. It's not a lot of wards in it. Very important here. Both teams have teleports up in their top lane.
Posturing for Dragon.
Dignitas is much stronger if they find the right fight.
Goes down in the top. And we'll see how much focus they put on EG here. Inox will be able to get to the fight, but so will Cruiser. And they both have those ultimates ready.
All the zone control right here is in the hands of Dignitas. However, they are a very squishy team right here, which is why they're actually trying to get this catch with the move speed.
Double speed up. They go on to Ken. They know it's going to be an easy kill there. Yellow Pete without the damage. A full culling onto 2 members of the team, and it looks like they're just forced to back off.
It's exactly what happens with Dignitas. Why the Karma Sivir combo is so deadly, really. Anytime they force around the dragon, unless EG all comes through the exact same corridor, Dignitas has such a move speed advantage that they can choose who to isolate. As soon as EG tried to collapse from different angles, Dignitas just picked one angle, got a 2v4, and picked up a kill.
And it's really hard for EG to keep track of Dig in these fights with so many gap closers or blinks, if you will, moving around. You see Snoopy just trying to walk around, apply his passive on people, but he's chasing the whole time. EG's trying to catch up in these fights, not initiate them. It's 6-1. We can see it kind of happening over and over again here as we approach 14 minutes. Turret in the mid lane is going to be the focus for Evil Geniuses now. They need to open up the map a bit so they can add their own pressure.
And I feel like Snoopy's fallen behind on Nautilus, which is quite devastating. He needed to get much tankier at this point in the game in order for himself to be effective. He's one of the rare champions where his defense is also his damage. As soon as his shield breaks, he loses probably over half of his damage. He still has some crowd control, but he becomes pretty much a non-factor in these fights. So Snoopy needs to find a way to get back in, whether that's power farm in the jungle or just catching a lucky fight.
And what would that even look like? What would the terms be if they could engage?
Yeah, the terms for them to engage is actually if the game somehow became about the lanes again, which is very unlikely with 5 turrets down. Nautilus excels in 2v1s because he is inescapable. Once he gets in range of you, all he has to do is put down that depth charge on you and you pretty much have no escape. But if he puts down a depth charge in the midst of a 4v4 team fight, Dignitas is still going to be able to run through and kill the priority targets.
Well, right now, sticking together, EG seems that power in numbers is the way to go. They do get mid back and a little bit of gold scraped up there, but they're looking 2,000 behind. Inox is going to get the upper hand here. Bit of that Hydra hit. Well, actually, he's only on the Tiamat still, but getting that AoE damage in.
This is the one remaining advantage for Evil Geniuses on the map. And you can see Dignitas trying to punish. Crumbs is invisible.
There he comes in. Inox is like, oh, there's another guy at this party. That wasn't an invitation I sent out, but he's gonna, oh, he kicks him away, the bird. Oh, he jumps too. Like I said, all the jumping.
He jumped all over the place right there. Put the ward down to see if he's still chasing. Great escape.
Yeah.
Right there by Inox. He needs to remain solid for his team here. Because of all the early rotations, remember how Cruiser was stuck at level 1 where Inox was able to share experience with the rest of his team. That's where Inox got that slight edge, and he is a very good solo Lee Sin player who has been able to punish Cruiser fairly well. One of the great things that solo lane Lee Sins get to do is they get to max their E, which gives them magic damage as well as physical damage, which makes them nearly impossible to itemize against, which is the problem Cruiser's been running into. He wants to go Sunfire Cape, but then he gets shredded by the E of Lee Sin.
So you're saying he can beat Shyvana with her own medicine?
Oh yeah, split damage. How do you deal with that?
Not too many kills. As of the last few minutes, everybody's trying to gain ground on the map right now. EG has been able to get a little bit back with the patience of Inox in the top lane and pulling over a lot of pressure from Dignitas, but Dig's ready themselves. You can see Crumb setting up in the bottom lane. They're going to get a push on this turret, probably make a move after.
I think I have to give a lot of credit to Dignitas for the last 16 minutes of this game. Getting ward control.
So Scar said they were the strongest.
Yeah, they really kept the rotation strong and controlled the vision, because against LeBlanc, Nautilus, Lee Sin, Thresh, like, just disasters waiting to happen. Oh no.
Hey, back into the laning phase. That's what they needed.
Yeah, that was, just as I was saying, they were doing a good job with map control. They walked right into the LeBlanc. Yellow Pete though, look out.
Oh, that's not actually a lot of extra damage he's able to apply there. And Golden Glue kind of taking a hit on what he thought would have been a kill.
He's got to lifesteal up as quickly as possible to avoid another push-down death. Dignitas trying to rotate mid lane after that death bottom.
You can see Inox putting good damage on that turret as the rotation mid happens. Cutie Pie's back, picking up red ever so slowly. He'll get it soon. 18 minutes coming up on the clock. And both teams probably going to look to pressure that dragon in 2 minutes. So set the pieces in place now. Figure out what they can do.
I really wonder, EG needs to find a pick before forcing the dragon, or they need to be the first to that spot. You can see EG actually has decent ward control of the dragon area right now. They need to keep that, and they actually need to catch Dignitas while warding, because if they catch Dignitas while Dignitas is grouped, they would lose control. The gold is still very close, though, because EG has kept the persistence up as far as their lane pushing goes. A lot of that has to do with Inox holding his own. More than holding his own, holding that lane strong against 1 and 2 people at a time.
Yeah. I'm surprised the other lanes as well had so much control back and forth in them. Pretty close in CS still, 112 to 127. It's still in Pole Belter's favor, but those AD carries almost equal in CS. We'll have to see once they meet face-to-face in these ones. We've seen the Dig having the fights in favor. We see EG able to pick somebody off, and it's all over for Dig. But can they do it? It's going to be very hard. They have opened up to 2 more turrets on the map, so Dignitas is working with less vision. EG is still taking that top. They can't stop Inox right now. They're not even putting pressure on.
It's interesting. They've actually abandoned the Shyvana as a plan for that lane. And they might end up trying to put Golden Glue against him, which I think is a bit better of a plan, but still not ideal just because of how farmed Inox has become.
Pobelter, there's that wild card going crazy, and it looks like they have the advantage now. He tries to get himself in a position for a kill. Looks like he's going to be disengaging on this one. He'll have the ultimate in just a few seconds, so no worries there.
Yeah, so Crumbs' ultimate might be down for this dragon fight. Inox does have teleport. And Cruiser's going back to base will teleport up as well. The question is, does EG force the dragon fight, or do they just see how far Inox can push on his own?
Culling down, giving the turret a little bit of breathing room. Anchor toss just on the outside.
Hook City's got to get better synchronization going down.
Yep, the 1-2.
Played a Nautilus hook. Got to get it.
Trying to flex his muscles here and push Inox out, but he's just waiting for the next wave. He's really not too worried about it.
EG's actually pulled ahead in gold after that last turret kill by them. So really great job.
Oh, wow. Cutie Pie going for that full flat damage build. Yeah, the pickaxe. Actually, he had the pickaxe before he even had his BF sword. So he was just throwing damage in there all along the course of the laning phase. There's the Stampede. Looks like Ken may have turned around. Oh, my lord! He just gets exploded as he turns around and blinks.
They got one back, though, and they didn't really have to burn too much. Snoopy still has his ultimate, and there's still the pressure of Lee Sin in that top lane. I think this is going to be a dragon from Dignitas, however, because Yellow Pete's back in base. That is kind of to be expected. They have the team for dragon control, and EG did not catch them while warding. But Dignitas wants more here. EG, they got to be careful about how hard they check this.
All right, they hop out. I was going to say that would be very scary. They got a big wave in the bottom to take care of. Mid lane is equaled out, so nobody really has to go for anything at the moment. They can decide to push this and gain ground on their side of the map. The gold's still very close here in our first game of the day. Golden Glue not doing too shabby for the team. Kept himself at pace and still helping make plays.
Yeah, I'm very interested in this game right now just because of how EG has really clawed their way back. They, like I said, they have so much potential for getting kills. It's very dangerous everywhere Dignitas goes, and it's surprising how they've been able to accomplish the map control with very rare catches. They only have 3 kills amongst all this, even though they're the team revolved around catching, whereas Dignitas has it as well with their move speed. But I'd expect much more brute forcing from Dignitas to try and group up. But it's almost as if the strength of Inox's Lee Sin is stopping that from happening. Everywhere Inox is, Dignitas has to respond with 1 who can't actually fight him, or 2 if they want to get anything done.
The factor of that teleport coming in, the idea of Pobelter even catching one person out with the Deathfire Grasp, putting Dignitas a little bit on their heels. Pobelter now to clean up the bottom lane, so seeing him down here and everybody else spread out, Dig has to know that EG is also on the back foot and just waiting for Dig to come to them. It's now the mistake game. Who's going to make it? Usually this fight, if there's no Dragon or Baron to be taken, will be coming off of a ward being killed and somebody just one step out of place.
It's been a very long time since Snoopy's used his ultimate as well. He was hoping to find it in that lane, but his boots of mobility got broken by the minions. Nautilus just needs to get in range of someone so he can use the ultimate, and then it's just so inescapable.
Looks like no push there. Ken looking to sit in the fog of war and grab a hook off, but nobody was biting. Golden Glue playing a little more safer than he was before. Didn't want Yellow Pete in that 1v1 situation this time. Pink ward's being put down. You only see one of those around the map, but EG has a good amount of coverage in Dignitas' jungle. It's going to be hard for Dig to disengage in that area.
Just got to wait for one of those to land. At this point, EG is just trying to get more and more control. Having finished 5 turrets, each invade becomes increasingly dangerous as long as they don't have a large gold lead. Because if they do get caught in a 5v5 or even a 4v4, they're in a fair bit of danger. There's the speed.
Stampede goes on. Snoopy hooks himself into the fight. They have Kiwi Kid. The depth charge puts up 3. Cutie Pie still in the fight with full health, though, throwing out damage. Crumbs turns it, gets himself in the fight and out. Going for 3 kills now on the Evil Geniuses. A double kill coming from Kiwi Kid in that fight. as he is running around with a sliver of health. Now for Inox, he approaches pretty much the first fight of his game, gets a retribution kill for himself, but it's one for their team's ace.
That is still the danger. Dignitas caught them in that 5v5. Sure, it started with the hook on a golden glue, but the speed from On the Hunt and the flank from Crumbs. Yellow Pete thought he was safe. Crumbs finished him off. The teleports both come in at the same time. They mirror each other, neutralize that out. And then at this point, it was just curtains for EG. They never got the first kill. Snoopy's shield got broken very quickly, so he can never deal the damage. And Dignitas, with all of their AoE and chase potential, cleaned house with EG. And they get the Baron to boot.
Dignitas had the fight team coming into this matchup, and it shows right there, just below Wraiths on the red side, how much more power they have in that small area. 12-4. We hadn't even had kills for quite some time, though, but they just racked them up quite fast in a 3,000 gold lead along with it. Dignitas still looking to push turrets. They were able to get Baron off of that, so now they're going to have to move forward a little bit more. It's going to be turrets next.
Yeah. So, EG had gained their turret advantage, generally by split pushing and using the threat of their two main assassins to keep Dignitas not grouped up.
Right.
Inox was too strong for anyone to take on, and Pobelter could zero out any squishy who went the wrong way. But as soon as EG started pushing deeper and deeper into Dignitas territory, the map funnels into a smaller spot, and that's exactly where they got caught as that 4v4 is during the funnel. So basically, EG can't, I almost feel like they can't even look at mid lane again. They need to keep Inox in one lane, and if they're going to group up 4, they can't. They need to group up 3 and have the other 3, right? They almost need to do a full 3-1-1, because if they ever get caught in either a 4v4 or 5v5, they're getting crushed, which is why it's very smart that Dignitas is pushing straight up the mid lane with 4 or 5, because with the Baron buff, EG is almost forced to respawn, but when they respawn, they lose that battle, because it's a Baroned up team versus a team that they already are weaker than in a 5v5. So
right.
Great call by Dignitas, doing exactly what they need to do to capitalize on this advantage.
You're looking at it, you think it would go in favor of EG. They're like, let's just clear out these waves a little bit. We got the culling, hit it with a few more. Inox can tempest it out, but Dignitas is so strong, even with melees. They're in the face of EG all the time, and it looks like Crumbs, he actually gets delivered in for a second, and they still don't want it.
Yeah, but look at that like ricochet that just hit EG. They're all at 2/3 health now. They have to burn the Ken ult as the turret falls. This means the Dignitas push gets to continue, because now EG has to go heal. There's still a few minions here. This is disastrous.
And this plays into mind games, too. You can see that EG is running scared on this, and Dignitas is feeding off of that right now. Knowing they can just sit on the front steps here, take a few pop shots, being peppered by EG, but they're going to be all right and probably take this inhibitor.
The poke from Kiwi Kid as well. It's not to be joked with. He started with that Spell Thief's Edge and has put a big punch on that Karma right now. There are 5 big threats on Dignitas at the moment as they continue to power down that turret and poke EG.
Even Kiwi Kid getting in for the auto attacks on the turret. Gets a nice Q out. No mantra on it, but you can still see the damage. Kiwi Kid not going to get himself in. Thought he was going to speed up the team, and they do it one last time. But they have a minion wave 20 yards out, coming in quick, and it looks like they may try to get the last bit of damage into the turret. The hook is down, so that relieves a bit of pressure. They're going in.
And Snoopy's shield popped already. He can't go in for any type of aggression. Minions still pushing for Dignitas. Let's see how much they do. There's the Sivir ult.
Right when the hook's up, they try to use it again. Pobelter gets focused on there, but he's out of the fight. Deathmark's going to take him down to about a quarter. Cruiser is just being a hell of a tank on the back line. Golden Glue getting grabbed up, but they're not able to get anything off of those hooks. They just got to watch and wait.
Very good strategy by Dignitas. Not much tactically EG could do about that one. Dignitas with the direct power play, and now they're just cascading their advantages. Blue buff and Dragon on the way out.
Strong play coming in from the whole team, really doing work. You look across the board and Golden Glue's died twice, only because he's really got ganked. Very good ganks from EG in those 2 instances. The rest of the team really playing on par. Even with the rotations, the early game of what was happening. Got to give credit to Dignitas for really finding their way into
actually
chaos.
Swept on their way through the jungle, so they know that EG can't see them coming back.
Oh! Man.
Ken with the save, though.
Rightio on the boomerang. That was pretty painful. Level 14. Wow, Cutie Pie's level 14 to Yellow Pete's level 12. So Dignitas themselves, the Baron, and everything they're getting here in a huge surge on the map is really surmounting. Good distortion damage. The shutdown coming in very big with the Deathfire Grasp. Inox looking to get 3 on the fight here. He still has, no, his ultimate is about to come up. That's why he was not able to kick anybody back. Culling across the side. Kiwi Kid the last few shots when he shields himself up. There's the box. Oh, the long way. Get the lantern. Brings in Paul Melter. No way he's going to have the damage. They cannot get the chase on a cruiser. He gets the double distortion follow-up, and they do find the kill after the long haul. Kiwi Kid trying to live as Golden Glue gets himself back in with the team. They're looking at the trifecta now. 3-point attack going in on a Yellow Pete and the rest of the team. Yellow Pete's out and back and forth, a 15-13. This does not look like a safe matchup.
Oh my God, that was cool, as far as Thresh and LeBlanc are concerned. But if we think about this fight strategically, Dignitas had about 10,000 unspent gold, and they just lost a Baron buff. But the fights continue.
Oh! The 1-for-1. They missed. Eye for an eye.
He burned flash for that. Golden Glue looking real strong and looking for more. They know Lee Sin isn't here. The turret is safe. Oh God!
Kiwi, oh, he was lit for a second. Crumbs is there. You have no mana. Get out of there. Dig is trying to push their advantage a little too much here.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1. Well, they know how many minions they have, and with the duration of that fight, the super minions were actually able to clear out a Nexus turret.
All right, they can still push it.
All right. That was kind of EG's big chance. Dignitas did overstay because they had so much unspent gold without a Baron buff. But now that they didn't have a full disaster there, they only suffered 3 deaths. They got a few back. We need to watch this one more time. Watch how Cruiser actually breaks both, but then he activated the R like as he was getting pulled in. Just ridiculousness. And the mind of Ken to know as he's taking that wild ride
was impressive.
to throw the lantern over just allowed for kill. But Pobelther can clearly finish him off. And this top fight is pretty interesting because Golden Glue still had his ultimate and was able to burst out Snoopy and basically scare Inox off, which is what ended up stopping this push. If Golden Glue didn't get such successful damage down onto the rest of EG, the Lee Sin would have been able to continue to chase and may have made that a disaster for Dignitas.
Wow. Dignitas Fight Squad really looking good here coming out this week. Week 10. They are on top of their game. 15-7.
Karma.
Death cap over onto Kiwi Kid. He already had the Morello Namicon sitting there. He just needed a little bit more gold to bring the pain. Kick to Crumbs in the top lane. I don't know if he's making it out of this one. They don't have the damage to take him down right away.
You know things have gone badly when the enemy support has more ability power than your mid laner.
Ooh.
Yeah. 350 AP onto Kiwi Kid. 352 actually. And 326 onto LeBlanc. Obviously he went DFG, so he's a little bit more about the single target burst. But it just shows how powerful Kiwi Kid's Karma is right now.
And at that point, you're almost nullifying what Pobelter's going to do with the size of the shield you're giving someone. So he's not having a good day anymore.
Exactly. Like, for instance, the regular shield is 400 damage, and it's on a 400 shield, and it's on a 6.5 second cooldown. And if he mantras it, it's a 430 damage shield onto the whole team that also gives move speed. So it's rather effective right now.
It's the Tad. 2,000 effective health coming in and shields for the whole team. A big gold lead Dignitas has been able to get for themselves over the past 10 minutes here. 53,000 to 46. The kills are going on both sides. EG is able to pick up a few, but Dig has been working on grabbing the next turret after these fights. They're finally, with the minion waves pushed up, able to activate something after they get the engagement. It looks like they're looking for more. Why shouldn't they? That inhibitor is open.
Smart move. They don't need to force a Baron with the potential for a steal when they know they can brute force a 5v5. There's no split push option for EG right now. If EG tries to defend this one, it's most likely going to be deaths and potentially the game. They kind of have to give this one away.
Wow, that's a Negatron cloak on Inox, and he's still taking big damage. The tether over to Snoopy. He's forced to Lantern out of this one, so a lot of the shield safety for EG is down. The damage is going to hit hard, and it's going to be Inox next up. The clone for Pobelter does go down, but he's alive on the backside. They give themselves some breathing room, but it's forced an inhibitor down. Very
valiant fight there by EG, not suffering a single death. I believe Ken actually flayed Crumbs out of a jump that could have snowballed that fight. Very critical move there. Now that Golden Glue's low enough, the Baron isn't even a realistic opportunity for Dignitas off the back of that. Nice hold by EG, despite losing the inhibitor.
This game getting pretty tough for Evil Geniuses. Even if they're to go for a Baron would take quite a long time with the team they're providing and the damage they have. Golden Glue clearing out the bottom lane. Dignitas getting all their ducks in a line. They're going to be back to the lanes to push it back in. on EG.
Yeah, EG wants to find a catch here. They want to see Dignitas come towards the Baron pit without 5 people so that they can kill someone.
Getting antsy. Crum saw him. Thwarted. It's just that.
Thwarted. Just don't walk.
As much how intense it gets, trying to hide in the brush, one guy to walk out, and then it's all thwarted. 33 minutes in as we just crest that moment. Pink wards are starting to go down, and they're starting to be cleared out in the Baron pit. With 15 seconds on the Dragon, the average level of the game is actually around 15, so it's going to be worth just about that Baron gold.
Yeah, in the one chaotic fight that EG had down on Ken's Wild Ride, they got a bit of experience back. When you're a lower level team and you kill higher level opponents, you get a monstrous boost in the experience gain from that fight. So that was actually a little bit bigger than you would think of just a normal 3-for-3 or 2-for-2 trade, but EG is still substantially behind.
During that point in the game when EG was pushing very hard, Ken actually surpassed Kiwi Kid in levels, which has happened for Kiwi Kid again. But you can see that EG definitely had a very big surge here that Dignitas took into consideration, flopped it right back on their head. 56.7 to 50K, just about. We'll round that up. It means Dignitas has a few core items on other members in the team. Yellow Pete not looking too bad in the way of an 80 carry. Cutie Pie's looking for that Infinity Edge to finish off his build.
Yeah, they're just going to move down for this Dragon now and hope that EG doesn't randomly collapse on them, because Dignitas is just trying to make sure they have adequate gold. They needed to go back and restock on wards. You can see they also have 4 sweepers to make sure they clear out the Baron area. At this point, Dignitas is just trying to find ways to end the game, and EG is completely on the defensive.
Looks like that might just pull them over to a Baron fight that they're taunting them to. Ken on the top side is going to try to get a sneaky ward in for the rest of the team. It's going to be a teleport in from Inox, so they're going to have to work this perfectly and stall it out.
Goes down pretty fast. They got to be worried that they don't get magic resist debuff too much for a potential pole belter pop. So that Baron starts raining the debuff on them. There's the initiation.
Very nice hit. Cruiser to the back line in a 4v1 situation. They get down. Golden Glue. Wait a minute. Pole belts are going down. Crumbs. Oh, he gets the lantern over. Another safety throw by Ken. He's going to get the hook as well. They take down Kiwi Kid. They take down Cutie Pie. The Baron for Dig did not help them at all.
Everything old is new again. Dignitas had the advantage and got screwed by forcing this Baron right now. EG is going to get this one, despite not having the better 5v5 team. Unless Crumbs tries to pull off a miracle, but that would be suicide. That is a massive turn by EG. Oh my word.
So many teams not taking into consideration that debuff damage that Baron puts on you.
Check this out though. I mean, yeah, exactly. They're still sitting on some of it, and Pole Belter finished off Golden Glue before Golden Glue could be a part. And check this out, because Crumbs went after Pole Belter and didn't get the kill, it was basically a 5v3 after that. Because Pole Belter made it back into the fight. Just the way that fight played out meant EG could miraculously come ahead because of the total outplay by Pole Belter. Just wild card coming in big.
Well, they're still getting everything out of the base and trying to clean up the tornado that just blew through. They have their inhibitors back, spawned up after they cleared the minion wave at the Nexus turrets, but they're still down a Nexus turret. If they lose a big fight here, it's going to be straight home for Dignitas for the win. But if EG can do that again, Dignitas is definitely going to be on their heels even more. EG's not really in the position after these fights to push turrets. They have the tankiness. I don't know if it'll be the full game without the minions.
Still recovering from that last fight. EG was pretty much dead in the water before that. And even though it's very easy to say Dignitas threw the game at Baron, that's not exactly what happened. The peel was fairly sound. They just didn't have vision on Pole Belter, and they didn't control it properly. They needed to have Cruiser in the front of that fight, and they needed to approach it properly. They just, when Golden Glue gets caught out like that, it completely swings things. It was just a misplayed fight by Dignitas. Not necessarily a terrible tactic. Their tactic was to peel off of Baron and use their movement speed, which is all fairly sound. It just was executed so much better by EG.
Yeah, ridiculous how they actually are keeping themselves able.
Dear.
That's the support.
That's the karma.
That's the karma. Yeah. How they can keep themselves in these fights with Snoopy being so far behind. He can still beat Nautilus in this. 90 CS to 125. has a few health items, but really isn't something that can take a hit from a Zed, Cruiser, or Crumbs.
Yeah, just with the way the gold is scaled in this game, you know. Kiwi Kid versus Ken, and then Snoopy versus Crumbs. As far as farmed people, there was 5 farmed teammates on Dignitas, and pretty much 3.
This is a hard mode for EG.
Yeah, it's all the weight is on Inox, and Ken. Those karma pokes, they hit hard.
Area of effect. Damage in your face. Pole Belter knows how it feels. That Baron buff going to keep him regenning though. Looks like they have about a minute, just over a minute left on that for themselves. And with pink wards going down, they'll be able to hold here, but for how long?
Yeah.
They've just been here forever.
Yeah, they're going to try and push this down while they have the Baron buff because they want to try and brute force. They have a big wave in the bottom, so they're pushing up a bit more. Another reason those karmas are hitting so hard is Dignitas is a mainly physical damage team. So EG is itemized pretty much nothing but armor. And there's a hook on Crumbs, pretty big.
Bing, bang, boom. Crumb gets out alive, though. The other team wanted a nice depth charge onto 4 members. It's going to be Snoopy. Is that the focus they want? They do take him down. It's the disengage from EG, but can they return fire while they're backpedaling? It's not going to be enough, and Dig retakes back the front of their base. I don't think Inox is out, but you know what? I think wrong a lot of times.
Lee Sin is a slippery man right there. Inox maybe saving his team a little bit there, keeping 3 people alive, and the main threats on EG are alive as well. But that fight kind of goes to show you, when fights are executed well for Dignitas, how superior they are. EG needs to make sure they can kill some of the priority targets before the fight. At that point, they put so much damage on a Cruiser that they just got ran over in the team fight. Despite Ken landing a hook, it's just not enough. They need to kill somebody instantly. Like, let's see exactly what happened here.
That ultimate.
Yeah, they went actually heavily onto Crumbs, who is fairly tanky right now. It was a nice ultimate by Snoopy, but it just didn't give them the reprieve they required. Cruiser jumps straight through the box, shatters it for everyone else, and then they continue to chase with their move speed. Nice overall play there by Dignitas.
It's actually a really great idea. Dragons descending down a few
through
walls
the box.
if you can.
Just
Why
get them
not?
all down. Get rid of them.
Just take it out of there. 23 seconds on Dragon. Somebody's going to scrape that guy up. Baron still has a minute or 2.5 minutes, I'd say, left. We're 17 to 10. The turrets are being opened up a lot more than the kills are, as teams are playing very cautious right now. These kill death timers are getting quite high. As we do have a level 18 Inox, but you look around and he has been farming pretty hard. He's the only 18 in the game right now.
Yeah, and it is also pretty rare that you see a game have 8 turrets on one side and 6 on the other. It just kind of goes to show how it's been a very swingy or back and forth game where EG had the pressure early and then Dignitas came in big later. They're trying to force something.
One hook after the other. They do get the ult out of Crumbs. Very, very useful with that patched Kha'Zix.
So no on the hunt. They're going to try to use that move speed to finish this off, but if the move speed dies, they will be a little bit vulnerable. Many ultimates burned. Dignitas still a very strong advantage here. If they were to win a fight here, the game is over for EG. So EG is being the more cautious team right now.
What is Ken waiting on back there? He was getting something else. He has the home guards. He's back in the fight, though. It'd be a little scary if they realized he was gone for too long. Minion wave is quite far away as well.
It's actually a pretty good pink ward as long as they can protect it. That just means when Crumbs comes in, he can't invisibly fly away. He'd still have the damage reduction when he goes in, but they would be able to crowd control him, which is very key.
Dig's going to have to consider what's going on in their side lanes here after they pressure down this Dragon. It doesn't look like EG's on their heels too much, so they have time. They're going to clean this up, relieve some pressure in the lanes, and I believe Baron, that 1 minute mark as you can see on the screen.
This is interesting. Dignitas is going for a blue buff steal. It's giving EG time to get Baron Pit access, but they're not cleaning wards very well. No one has actually used their sweeper as they walk through that. I think that's a bit of a mistake because now they know exactly where EG is. Grab it! He's safe.
I can see that Ken...
The inhibitor, though.
The inhibitor is exposed. Saving his sweeper. Yeah, Crumbs.
And even if EG home guards through for this, it would still be a 5v5 they do not want. They're not even synced up on this either. That is just a rotational advantage by Dignitas. Don't go.
Be a grab here. One distortion. It's, oh my word! Kiwi Kid gets a distortion hit along with the Deathfire grasp. That would have been a safe pole belter anyways. The Zanyas is there. Inox is going to safeguard. The Zanyas still for pole belter as Dignitas getting a little chaotic here in their engagement. Now trying to disengage. Inox, Snoopy, and Yellow Pete on the front line trying to return fire.
If he could have zeroed out Kiwi Kid, it would have been worth it, but that was the danger of flying in Oh, man.
Kiwi Kid, he
Exciting game.
didn't think he had to. His Banshee's Veil got popped, and he was like, oh, I should have hit Spell Shield.
Doesn't even... No, Kiwi Kid's on the Karma right there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cutie Pie.
Yeah.
Getting him mixed up.
It's tricky. When he goes full glass cannon like that on Karma, he is at risk. And EG understands how much he's doing for the team right there, so he's actually become a priority target. Additionally, he's the only one really dealing magic damage. So if they take him out, all the armor stacking they're doing from the jungle in the top lane position makes it much more difficult for Dignitas to be successful in team fights. Now they have some vision control on Baron because of that steadily pushing bottom lane.
St. Vicious. St.
Same
Vicious. I see Nautilus and I say St. Vicious. Snoopy on Nautilus. Going up for a Thornmail just after the Randuins, just trying to be a beefcake for the rest of his team. They're going down quite quick in these fights, especially with that front-end power coming out. The Qs of Kiwi Kid, Crumbs' first attack. You're not going to be living very long. Ken on the outside. They got the wards they need for this one, but it's going to be scary. Good activation on Baron.
Yeah. Pisses the Baron off. Make him a Kiwi Kid. This fight is really dependent on how Pobelter executes. Dignitas is going to try and stick together, but if Pobelter can kill a priority target, there's a lot of Banshee's Veils on Dignitas, which make a huge difference for the block, just because of the spell block. So basically, Pobelter has to find Kiwi Kid, and even then, there might be too much damage coming from Dig. I didn't think this game would make it to the 45-minute mark, but now that it has, it really became interesting.
Interesting indeed. Snoopy going back, picking up the dagger for some attack speed. Trying to get that W damage out maybe, or going for a wit's end after that?
Yeah. Got to build an item sometime. Not sure exactly what his plan is with that one.
We'll see.
Yeah, honestly.
Doesn't have much time.
It helps him clear jungle.
Yeah.
Much faster.
See around the map, that Maul Mortius built on Crumbs quite a while ago. Saw it save him in 2 occasions with that shield coming up to save his life from the burst of Pobelter. And now Dignitas in the driver's seat here, pushing the mid lane. They finally got their outer lanes pushed up. They're at least at halfway. See what they can do around Baron.
And Dignitas has been in the driver's seat for quite some time.
Yeah.
EG has done a very good job staying alive. It's not to be understated how difficult it is to stall a game like this when the other team has such a substantial teamfight advantage. But EG is doing it nonetheless.
Dignitas having a little trouble getting in close now with EG's ability to disengage and play safely on these fights. Crumbs seeing what he can do to taunt over Evil Geniuses here. But they are already the Evil Geniuses. They know this is happening.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear. That could be Ken going down. He could throw down the box. It would be nice to shut down at least the team for that time, maybe buy some time, but the rest of the team just breaks right through the door on that. Ken still getting a lot of focus. EG may have time to get a reaction on this fight, but they're still disengaging. Ooh. A huge Q. Yeah, coming out of Kiwi Kid. And it looks like Pobelter's going to have to Zanyas, gets himself to safety as the clone, not really playing a role in that one. This is going to be a chase down Jat, not looking so good. Fast. Dignitas should be going for the base, but they know these kills are going to equal that anyways.
Well, they only got the support. Amazingly, they're going to go for more here. Snoopy trying his best to get away from Crumbs. This is...
Cue the music. Oh, gets the stun on him. Oh, wait a minute. Nope. Oh!
It's not very far.
Tiny little anchor toss. You gotta do what you gotta do. The jump, the kill. He doesn't even let Golden Glue get an assist. What a nice guy.
Yeah, and a 60-second death timer off of that one, plus no smite threat for the steal. EG doesn't have too many options right now. After that crazy fight, it was a good catch by Dignitas around the back. Once again, it was because EG was split up into different squadrons, and Dignitas could just pick one and rush it down. Very nice try there by Pobelter, but because he couldn't zero him out.
Yep. They know the power
for naught.
Is what they're trying to dodge here. Infinity Edges onto the AD carries. They have all the power they need. This is maximum potential fights coming out here.
Yeah, and they're all at full health here. EG decides to give it up smartly.
This is crazy. They're going to have to put up the riot shields on this one once they get back into the base. EG getting as much push on the lanes as they can. Hopefully it takes Dignitas a little more time to get into the base. But it's only going to be a few more seconds. Dragon's up. We'll see We'll leave Inox hop over the wall to grab this one if he's not trying to deny more experience. Just a ward, and then he'll grab it.
Inox might be able to pick up a dragon here, which is pretty nice. Keeping the gold even. As far as itemization goes, though, we're reaching the maximum items pretty soon for everyone, and at that point, the gold will actually cease to matter. Pobelter can finish off his Rabadon, so it'll be huge. There it is. And until there's magic resist on Kiwi Kid, now with a death cap, that combo that Pobelter did on a Kiwi Kid right before that Baron would kill it. So that's a very important threshold of damage.
The way the game's been going, you can see both teams focusing CS about the same. With Kiwi Kid having a little more wave clear, he's picked up more for himself over Ken, but nobody's stealing anything from the jungle too much or taxing lanes as we get here to this late game. We see it being pretty even. Crumbs in the front. Everybody's 18 except for the supports. Like we said, it's getting to that full potential as the teleport comes in. Dignitas is showing they are ready and rare to go.
Yeah, and I cannot mention too many times how overpowering Dignitas is in straight up 5v5 team fights. Pobelter has to be a wizard in these fights. That's not what a wizard does.
No, it's not what a wizard does at all. The wizards come back to life. Lots of magic, not death. 49 minutes on this one. Dignitas looking to put the final stamp on the game with 8,000 gold in their pocket ahead of Evil Geniuses. The last few fights are just really coming from shurikens and a few spikes out of Crumbs before they get what they want.
And how much does Dig want to brute force this? Because they don't have side lanes pushing. They're trying to go right up the middle. It is still only one defensible turret, but the base is so close for EG. No harass will stick. They basically have to go all in on one if they go. And now they're tanking that turret without minions, which is somewhat vulnerable. But boy, they're strong.
I was going to say, Cutie Pie gets grabbed, but nobody can go in on that just yet. Pobelter does take down Kiwi. That is huge damage that Dignitas is looking for. Inox makes it out, and he pulls out Crumbs' ultimate. Can they still go in? Pobelter missing the chain on that one as Crumbs gets out on the invisible style. You saw the Fog of War there change the vision of EG. They're able to stave off a bit of that battle, but is it enough?
Jeez, and the game continues. We did say how vulnerable Kiwi Kid was going to be to Pobelter, and that's what that death cap meant, is that he could finish him off. Kiwi Kid's got to get a Banshee's Veil as soon as possible. Otherwise, those holds will continue. He can zero out that guy.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to push. Late game LeBlanc. Very difficult to play, but very rewarding when done properly.
You kind of saw it also as kind of the keystone in that arc for Dignitas. Once it fell out, they crumbled. They didn't have the speed they wanted after On the Hunt was down. The shields weren't there from Kiwi Kid, and a lot more chaotic fight there with Kiwi Kid down.
You got 30 seconds on Cruiser, too, the tank right there. So everyone is actually a little bit vulnerable to Pobelter, despite having Banshee's Veils. I wonder how much EG can really get out of this one. 4 seconds on Kiwi, he'll be here soon. This could be a fight from Dig.
On the Hunt just came up, so they have very low health, and this could be a huge activation on the engage. There goes Crumbs. On the Hunt hits out as well. Aranduin's flying through the air. They start to go down onto Pobelter. He falls. Another kill for Snoopy. Runs away with a sliver, but Kiwi Kid picks it up on the skill shot Q for a double. 3 are now down. 4 are now down. Yellow Pete trying to run on this one. He has the GA, pops Crumbs, and he's going to be running for home.
This will probably do it here, Rib. Dignitas just went in 4v5 because they knew how overwhelmingly strong they were. They got the fight properly this time, Pobelter. They're not zeroing anyone out. 51 minutes of power there from Dignitas. Hard-fought game.
Culling is down. He does have that 400% damage to minions, but he will not be able to give the Nexus turrets any breathing room here. Dignitas suffocating and putting that last stranglehold down onto Evil Geniuses in an incredible game from both teams here to start off week 10. 51.5 minutes in, Dignitas find the win.
Golden Glue finds victory in his first game with Dignitas, but boy, did EG make him work for it.
Yeah.
That was an incredible defense from Evil Geniuses after they could not win a straight-up team fight, drawing it out to 51 minutes, taking many turrets, 17 total turret kills in that one. But hey, Dignitas makes a swap, finds a victory.
And it did start to look good for Evil Geniuses. Dignitas has that 5 minutes of the game, right in the beginning, and then a little bit in the middle when they're able to team fight. They really took advantage of those times. With a 3,000 gold lead, they were able to do oh so much. But like you said, kudos to EG as well. They cannot be forgotten in this game. They played so well being behind the whole time. Something we really haven't seen this year. Teams just fold under that pressure.
Couple golden blue chants coming out.
Yeah.
It's a nice intro into the Dignitas roster. And what does this really mean, though? Because EG is already at the bottom of the table as far as standings go, and with an early loss in this week, just puts them farther in the hole. They need to really start winning some games. And for Dignitas, I think it gives them a little bit of security as far as making it into the playoffs. That's really what they needed from this one. Just can't say like how hard that game was for Dignitas. It shouldn't have necessarily been that hard. I know probably in the post game when we talk to Dignitas, they will mention how they wanted to close it sooner, but a win is a win.
But that Baron?
Yeah, the Baron did not go well.
Didn't, but they were able to flip it
What's
around.
Scar doing there?
He's saying, Golden Glue, I got you. GG, I'm gonna pick your stuff up for you.
Such a nice guy.
But no, he's also talking to QD. This and this, this and this. And really amazing game as well from Golden Glue as we're still speaking about him. Looking at his past games in Challenger for, if you put the past 2 or 3 weeks together, he didn't have a Zed game in there. Yeah. So it's just been solo queue and practice Zed for him.
Yeah, it is one of his most played in solo queue Challenger. He's sitting around rank 100 in Challenger right now, which is high but not immaculate. Right. A lot of his time has obviously been put towards the actual competitive Challenger games, the 5v5s, the Dignitas scrims. So you can't judge too much off of that. He was going hit for hit with Pobelter. I would say this is more of a team victory for Dignitas very early on. A lot of performance coming out just from the rotations of the team to find those fights eventually against the split push.
And that was something that was really cool. Now being on the 4.4 patch, seeing the amount of teamwork in the early game, the amount of team rotation, and not just one person.
What's required? They have to stick together now. I really want to see how these early games hit. There's a lot of debate about whether having your trinket wards up at 1 minute or 2 minutes is better. Pros are very mixed on that, but as of now, unless they're willing to invest in wards like EG did on Ken, you have to make those invades blind. And it means the teleport is very important for the top laners right now. They need to see where the lanes are going so they can match it and find their right spot.
That was the next one I was going to mention, teleport. We actually saw 2 that game.
Yeah.
So
we're going to see a lot more top lane teleports.
Going to happen. 100-second cooldown coming up for 200 seconds when you got it to a turret. So a lot safer, a lot easier to get back to lane if you're going to be a little riskier in lane. And a lot of people are like playing the carry top lanes now as the bruisers are kind of falling out. So it's going to help a little bit.
This moves Dignitas to 10 and 13. Moves Evil Geniuses to 6 and 17, which is it's not what Evil Geniuses wanted when they decided to make the move over to North America. They've had some difficulties. They still did not have their main roster this game. So 0-3 with the substitutes so far.
A lot of people hoping they would perform as the sister team. Yeah. Alliance has been a huge surge.
Alliance has really surged up lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. But EG still hasn't made that step.
We'll have to see if they can. There's a lot more league games to go for each team. And remember to share your favorite moments from today's action. Send them to @LOL Esports and use the hashtag LCS Big Plays. I know we might have had one in that game with a Thresh Hook.
There's a big one.
Let's throw it over to Freak and Kobe, who are joined by 2 members of the victorious Dignitas.
Thank you very much.